how's it going, everybody? It's Ryan here, going to do squat mobility week, squat shape mobility week, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Is when we're talking about this is an introduction video to improving your squat, getting ass to grass, or having the ability to go ass to grass. I think that's really important in powerlifting, as that's my main hobby right now, or my main kind of thing with this channel. I think squatting ass to grass is not something you should do in competition because it kind of affects your ability to get the most out of your lifts, most out of your total, but in a normal life, to have good strength, to have good effectiveness, it's important that you're able to do this. So if you can't do it, you need to be able to do it, so that for lots of reasons. I think the most important reason is that it makes sure that you maintain healthy joints. It helps clear up a lot of weaknesses too, because when you get down to the bottom and you can't get down there, it just shows a glaring weakness. Weakness is not being able to be strong in that range of motion, and that's kind of what's important. So there's this really good video, I'll link in the description. Omar Isuf put a video up, an article by Dean Somerset, I think the name is. Yeah, Dean Somerset, really great article. And since then I've kind of been doing on and off research about the butt wink and kind of figuring my own issues, because I hurt my SI joint a few weeks ago, and it came back perfectly fine. But then I have these knee pain, just trying to figure out the optimal way to deal with things. And it led me to some other videos by, what's this guy's name? It's Chris Duffin. He talked about the butt wink. It's a really great video, which I'll link in the description. I may have talked about it before. What I wanted to actually talk about is just essentially kind of like why you can't squat ass to grass, or what your limiting factors are. And there's lots of different factors of why people can't squat ass to grass. I've trained a lot of different clients, and I've seen some people so flexible they can get all the way to the bottom. But once you put weight on their back, essentially they can get all the way to the bottom, but they have no strength. So that's a pretty obvious, glaring thing. They need to build their strength up. Some people can, when I tell them to squat, they get down to here, and that's all they can go. They can't go any lower. And a lot of the reasons, there's lots of different things. They don't have the motor control there. It could be a flexibility issue. It could be a strength issue. It could be both. A lot of the time, this is kind of why the goblet squat is such a great exercise to teach, and a good exercise to use for your own mobilities, because it helps you get into the bottom. Now, let's talk about the ideal squat position to get the most torque and the most ideal positioning, in my opinion, at least for me. It's positioning my feet so they are essentially almost perfectly straight, maybe toed out a little bit, and then being in this position here. This is optimal for me. This would be optimal force production. It's not optimal for me, but I think this would be optimal for my force production in the quads and the hips. I get the most amount of torque in the hips if I can maintain this position. The problem is I don't have good ankle flexibility, which is why I have a limitation. So I'm going to squat down just to show you kind of where I'm at. This right heel is starting to come off, and that's kind of where I am right now. Now I can use a weight which will help counterbalance, using this 53-pound kettlebell here. And I pick up this weight, maybe hold it in front of me, and then I'll be able to get down, not quite ass to grass, but definitely below parallel. Now, in the Dean Somerset article, he talked about being able to squat down with a kettlebell or some weight, and then seeing if you can build your squat back up. Essentially, reverse engineer your own squat. So that way you can teach yourself the motor pattern, because a lot of the time the reason why some people can't get into that position is because they don't have the balance and the coordination, the control, the experience, and strength. Lots of different factors. So it shows that I might be tight, right? But really what I'm lacking is I'm actually lacking a little bit of balance and motor control. So obviously I can get down there if I have a weight on myself, right? Why is that? Because I'm able to have the weight stretch me out where I'm tight, typically my adductors in my case. But then what he says is that the best way to build a squat, or what, for me at least, is in the way you're going to use it. In that case, is to actually squat and not a bunch of stretching mobility drills. However, I think mobility drills are important. I'm just saying that understand that you're trying to teach a movement pattern that you don't exactly have fully skilled yet. And some people think that they're just tight, or they need to do more mobility. In reality, what most people need to do is they need to do some mobility, but they just need to do more squatting. So in my instances, what's been helping me a lot of the time, what I've been doing recently this past week, is simply getting a kettlebell or some weight, squatting down, ass to grass, or as low as I can while maintaining neutral spine, setting the weight down, holding for a moment, and then come back up. And then repeat the process. So I'm going to try to squat again. See, again, I still hit a little bit of a bottleneck here because of my balance and my tight hips, not able to get hip torque because of my tight adductors by pushing my knees out. if I turn my feet out a little bit, I can get a little bit more active strength in my hips, so that way I can kind of give my inner thighs a break, and that way I can get into that similar position. It's always going to be a little bit better if I can be a little bit more straighter, because then I'll get more hip torque. But then again, it sort of depends on your own individual tightness and weakness. So this is just the first video of mobility drills that I want you to do throughout the week. This is kind of the base drill. I think this is the most important one. Take a look at those articles and those other videos. Chris Duffin, Bryce Lewis, and the Dean Somerset video, Dean Somerset article. There'll be 2 articles there. Take a look at that so that you can kind of expand your knowledge. But that's the first drill. This right here, I would use this as your base drill to kind of help improve your mobility. I want you to do it 10 times every day for this entire week. It's simply just finding a foot position where you have essentially, you're close to your ideal squatting position, right? Get a weight and squat down there, down and hold, set the weight down, and see if you can find a position to balance from. So I'll let go of the weight right there, hold there for a moment, and come back up. So it'll look like that. Then I'll pick the weight back up again, squat down, put it down, come back up. Repeat, come down, set it down, and then come back up. And then maybe I can get down there almost. Not quite. I need the weight to kind of help push me down, and then come back up. All right, see you guys in the next video.